Ladies and gentlemen, one day life will strip you of every safety net you thought you had. Friends will vanish, support will disappear, and the people you counted on will turn their backs. In that moment, there will be no one to lean on, except you. And if you are not ready to stand alone, you will break. But if you are ready, if you've built the strength to survive without anyone, you become unstoppable. Today I'm going to tell you why mastering this strength is the most powerful thing you will ever do. Life has a way of teaching us that no matter how many people surround us, no matter how deeply we love, no matter how much support we believe we have, there will come moments when we stand completely on our own. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And in that moment, your survival, your growth, and your victory will depend entirely on your own resilience, your own strength, and your own ability to carry yourself without leaning on anyone else. When you rely too much on others to hold you up, you give them the power to drop you. You make your well-being dependent on their choices, their moods, and their presence. But when you learn to survive alone, you reclaim that power. You stop waiting for someone to rescue you, and you become your own savior. You stop expecting the world to make space for you, and you carve your own space with your own hands. There's nothing more empowering than looking in the mirror and knowing you are enough to fight, to endure, and to thrive, no matter who stays, who leaves, or who turns their back on you. Being able to survive alone doesn't mean you reject love or connection. It means you refuse to make them your oxygen. You breathe on your own, you walk on your own, you make decisions without needing a chorus of approval. You learn to find comfort in your own company, to silence the fear that creeps in when you're alone in the dark, and to trust that no matter what storms come, you have what it takes to stand through them without collapsing. The truth is, life will test you in ways you can't predict. The people you thought would be there forever might disappear. The plans you thought were unshakable might crumble overnight. And when that happens, there's no time to collapse and wait for a hero. You have to be the hero. You have to be the one who wipes your tears, who picks you up from the floor, who whispers to yourself, "Get up, we're not done yet." That's what surviving alone looks like. It's choosing to fight for yourself, even when no one's watching, even when it feels like the whole world has forgotten you. It's not easy. The road to self-reliance is paved with uncomfortable truths. You'll realize that some of the people you loved the most were never rooting for you. You'll see that sometimes the hands you reached for in desperation will pull away. But these realizations are not meant to make you bitter. They're meant to make you unbreakable. They're meant to sharpen your edges so you can cut through the chaos of life without losing yourself in the process. Surviving alone is not about proving something to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. It's about waking up every day and saying, "I'm capable of building my own life, my own peace, my own success." It's about no longer letting your happiness be conditional on anyone else's actions. It's about finding strength in silence, in solitude, in the quiet moments where it's just you and your thoughts, and realizing you are enough company for yourself. When you learn to stand alone, you become harder to manipulate. You stop tolerating disrespect because you no longer fear losing people. You stop compromising on your boundaries because you know you can walk away and still be whole. You stop begging for attention, affection, or validation because you already give those things to yourself. This kind of strength changes everything. It shifts your energy, your relationships, and the way the world responds to you. And don't mistake independence for isolation. Surviving alone is a skill, not a lifestyle you must cling to forever. It means you choose relationships from a place of fullness, not emptiness. You can still love deeply, but your love is a choice, not a lifeline. You can still lean on others, but it's a lean, not a collapse. When you know you can survive alone, you enter relationships without desperation, without fear, without the constant anxiety that someone's absence will destroy you. Building this strength starts with small steps. Learn to do things on your own that you've always depended on others for. Learn to make decisions without asking 10 people for their opinion. Learn to sit with your feelings instead of drowning them out with distractions. Learn to trust your instincts even when no one agrees with you. Every time you choose to face something alone, you're training your mind and heart for the bigger challenges that will come. You will face nights when loneliness feels like it's crushing your chest. You will face mornings when getting out of bed feels impossible because you know no one is checking on you. You will face days when you crave someone to tell you you're doing okay. And in those moments, you will have to be that someone. You will have to be the one who says, I see you, I'm proud of you, keep going. This is the survival mindset, becoming both the fighter and the encourager, the wounded and the healer. There is power in knowing that you can lose everything and still not lose yourself. That no matter how many times life strips you bare, you will find a way to rebuild. That you can walk through betrayal, heartbreak and disappointment without letting them harden your heart into stone. That you can keep your softness while still being unshakable. The world respects those who can stand on their own. It's not about arrogance, it's about self-respect. When you can survive alone, you carry yourself differently. You stop chasing, you stop begging, you stop shrinking, you become magnetic because you radiate the truth that you are whole with or without anyone's presence. People feel that energy and they respond to it. And yes, it will scare some people. Some will try to tell you you're too independent, that you don't need anyone. Let them talk. What they're really saying is they can't control you. They can't manipulate you through fear of abandonment. You've broken the chain that keeps so many people trapped in toxic cycles. You've chosen freedom, and that will always make the insecure uncomfortable. You don't have to announce your strength to the world. Your actions will speak for you. The way you carry yourself, the way you set boundaries, the way you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, these are the marks of someone who knows they can survive alone. You don't need to prove it, you just need to live it. So be ready. Be ready for the day when no one answers the phone. Be ready for the day when the people you counted on disappear. Be ready for the moments when life corners you and you have no choice but to stand and fight on your own. And when that day comes, don't crumble. Don't beg, don't wait, rise. Because the truth is, once you know how to survive alone, you'll never fear being alone again. And that is the kind of power no one can take away from you. When you understand that you are your own constant, everything begins to change. People may walk into your life with grand promises, but the reality is human beings are unpredictable. Their feelings change, their priorities shift, their lives take turns you cannot anticipate. If you've tied your sense of worth, happiness, or stability to another person, you will feel like the ground beneath you collapses when they leave. But if you've anchored yourself, in your own strength, you will not shatter. You may bend, you may stumble, you may feel pain, but you will not break. The art of surviving alone is built on a deep trust in yourself. It's the unshakable belief that no matter what happens, you have the ability to figure it out. You might not know all the answers right away, but you trust that you'll learn, adapt, and navigate through. This mindset is not built overnight. It's forged through every challenge you face. Every time you've had to solve a problem with no one to guide you. Every time you've faced a heartbreak and still managed to show up for life the next day. Every time you've been scared but acted anyway. Those moments are the bricks that build the fortress inside you. People often fear solitude because they've never truly sat with themselves. They run from silence, they drown it with noise, with distractions, with constant social interaction. But here's the truth. If you can't stand to be alone with your own thoughts, you'll never truly be free. Freedom comes when you can sit in stillness and not feel empty. When you can hear your own voice without confusion. When you can find comfort in your own presence the way others find comfort in crowds. That is when solitude becomes a source of power instead of a source of fear. There will be times when the path you choose will be unpopular, when the decisions you make will confuse the people around you. They might question you, doubt you, even mock you. But when you're ready to survive alone, their approval becomes optional. You stop making choices to please the crowd and start making them to protect your future. You stop fearing rejection because you understand that rejection is just redirection away from places and people that are not meant for you. Being ready to stand alone also means preparing yourself for the discomfort that comes with growth. You may have to step away from circles you've outgrown, even if they feel familiar. You may have to turn down opportunities that don't align with your values, even if they seem tempting. You may have to walk away from people you love when you realize they're holding you back. These choices hurt in the moment, but they strengthen you for life, because when you choose yourself over temporary comfort, you're teaching the world and yourself that your life will be built on purpose, not convenience. The ability to survive alone gives you a different kind of confidence. You stop trying to prove yourself to everyone because you already know your worth. You stop chasing people because you are too busy building your own path. You stop comparing yourself to others because you understand that your journey is yours alone. That inner peace is priceless. It's the calm assurance that no matter where you are, no matter who's with you, no matter what challenges you face, you have everything you need within you. It's also about resilience. Life will not spare you from pain. You will lose things you thought you could never live without. You will face betrayals that leave scars. You will have days when it feels like nothing is going your way. But if you've built the habit of standing on your own 2 feet, you will weather those storms with grace. You will take the lessons from your losses and use them to rebuild stronger. You will let the pain shape you, but never define you. Surviving alone also teaches you to see the difference between want and need. You might want companionship, support, or encouragement, but you don't need them to exist, to function, or to succeed. When you remove that dependency, you start attracting relationships that are healthier, because you're not using them to fill a void. They're an addition to your already full life, not the source of it. It's important to realize that being prepared to stand alone doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you don't crumble if help doesn't come. It means you're capable of carrying yourself forward even when your hands are empty. It means that you know how to be your own backup plan. That skill will save you in more ways than you can imagine. And here's another truth. When you're ready to survive alone, opportunities start to appear. People notice the energy of someone who is self-sufficient, disciplined, and unafraid of solitude. They see you as reliable, as someone who can be trusted to deliver regardless of the circumstances. This is why the strongest leaders are often those who have faced their battles alone. Because when you can hold yourself up without support, you can carry others without being carried. You'll also find that the more comfortable you become with standing alone, the less desperate you are to keep things that are no longer serving you. You stop clinging to relationships out of fear of being single. You stop holding on to jobs you hate because you're afraid of starting over. You stop settling for less because you know you can create more for yourself. And that is the kind of freedom that opens doors you didn't even know existed. The journey to this kind of strength is not glamorous. It's messy. It's filled with moments where you question yourself, where you cry in private, where you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders. But each of those moments is shaping you into someone who cannot be shaken. Someone who, even in the darkest times, can still light their own fire. You might notice that people treat you differently when you no longer depend on them. Some will respect you more, while others may feel threatened. Some will admire your independence, while others may try to test it. But the beauty of being able to survive alone is that none of this changes your path. Whether they support you or not, you keep moving. Whether they believe in you or not, you keep building. Whether they stay or leave, you keep rising. In this world, control is often an illusion. You can't control the economy, the weather, the actions of others, or the twists of fate. But you can control your mindset. You can control how prepared you are for the day when everything changes. You can control how much you've invested in your own skills, your own discipline, your own resilience. And when you've built those things, you become unstoppable, not because the world can't hurt you, but because it can't end you. There's a peace that comes from knowing you have your own back. That no matter how chaotic life becomes, you're not at the mercy of anyone's choices but your own. That even in isolation, you are not lost. You're simply standing in your own power. That is what it means to be ready to survive alone. And the more you embrace this, the more you realize that solitude isn't just about survival. It's about creation. Some of your best ideas, your deepest clarity, your most transformative decisions will come when you are by yourself, undistracted and focused on your own vision. You'll discover dreams you didn't know you had. You'll realize strengths you didn't know you possessed. You'll find answers you didn't know you were looking for. When you know how to survive alone, you stop being afraid of change. You stop fearing the unknown. You stop doubting your ability to start over because you've done it before. You've walked through fire and made it out stronger. You've lost everything and still found a way to keep going. You've been left alone and still managed to rise. And once you've done that, you carry that strength with you for life. You stop living with the constant fear of losing people, jobs, or stability because you know you can rebuild from scratch. You become bold in your decisions, daring in your dreams, fearless in your pursuit of what you want. Because you know that even if you fall, you can catch yourself. That kind of fearlessness is rare and it's magnetic. You also become more present when you're no longer obsessed with who might leave or what you might lose. You start truly living in the moment. You start enjoying the people in your life for who they are without clinging to them. You start embracing opportunities without overthinking the risks. You start moving forward with the kind of quiet confidence that makes others wonder what your secret is. And perhaps the greatest gift of all, you learn to love yourself in a way that no one else's love could replace. You become your own safe place, your own source of validation, your own biggest supporter. You stop needing someone else to complete you because you were never incomplete to begin with. You just needed to realize that you've had everything you needed within you all along. When you've truly mastered the art of standing on your own, you begin to notice a shift not only in yourself, but in the way the world interacts with you. People sense your energy. They see that you're not clinging, you're not chasing, and you're not dependent on their approval. That kind of energy commands respect without you even asking for it. You walk into a room differently, not because you think you're better than anyone else, but because you know that whether you're celebrated or ignored, you're still going to shine. There's an incredible freedom that comes from realizing you are not tied to anyone's presence for your happiness. You stop playing small to keep others comfortable. You stop accepting crumbs when you know you deserve the feast. You stop negotiating with yourself just to fit into places you've outgrown. And this is when life starts rewarding you, not because it suddenly became easier, but because you stopped holding yourself back. The readiness to survive alone also removes the invisible chains that keep so many people stuck. Think about how many stay in unfulfilling jobs because they're afraid they can't make it without the steady paycheck. Think about how many remain in toxic relationships because they're terrified of starting over. Think about how many stay quiet when they should speak because they fear losing the approval of the people around them. When you have the ability to stand alone, you are no longer ruled by those fears. You become someone who chooses instead of someone who waits to be chosen. And let's be honest, this doesn't happen without work. Self-sufficiency requires skill. It demands that you invest in your mind, your body, your abilities. It asks you to get comfortable with discomfort, to push yourself beyond what feels safe, to learn things you once thought were out of your reach. It might mean teaching yourself to manage your own finances so you're never trapped in a situation because of money. It might mean learning how to fix something instead of always calling for help. It might mean developing a career or business so strong that you never have to settle for scraps. Every skill you gain becomes another layer of armor, another tool in your survival kit. And survival alone is not just physical, it's emotional. It's learning how to process pain without numbing it. It's learning to comfort yourself without needing someone else to tell you you're going to be okay. It's knowing how to pull yourself out of a dark mental space because you've done it before. Emotional independence is a skill just like any other, and once you have it, you'll never again be at the mercy of someone else's presence to feel whole. There's also a beauty in the way solitude sharpens your perspective. When you remove the noise of constant influence, you start to hear your own voice more clearly. You stop confusing other people's opinions for your own truth. You stop chasing trends or living according to expectations that were never yours to begin with. You start making choices that feel aligned with who you truly are. And when you live like that, life feels lighter. You move with purpose, and every step forward feels like it belongs to you, not to the crowd, not to your circumstances, but to you. When you are ready to survive alone, you also stop waiting for perfect timing. You understand that there is no perfect moment, no flawless plan, no guaranteed safety net. You take action when the opportunity is in front of you, even if it scares you, because you trust that whatever happens, you can handle it. This trust in yourself is a game changer. It transforms fear into fuel, doubt into determination. It also makes you more selective with the people you let into your life. When you no longer need someone just to avoid being alone, you choose differently. You choose relationships that inspire, challenge, and uplift you, not ones that drain or diminish you. You stop settling for proximity and start prioritizing quality. You realize it's better to have no company than to have the wrong company. The strength to survive alone also creates a quiet kind of power, one that doesn't need to be loud or flashy. You're not out there shouting about your independence or trying to prove it to anyone. You simply live it. You show it in the way you handle challenges without collapsing. You show it in the way you keep moving forward when plans fall apart. You show it in the way you can lose something and still keep your heart open to the next chapter. That quiet power is magnetic because it's real and people can feel it. You'll also find that the more self-reliant you become, the more opportunities for growth appear. Doors open for those who can walk through them without being carried. People trust those who have proven they can carry themselves, and life rewards those who step into the unknown with courage, even if their hands are shaking. But here's the thing, this strength doesn't mean you never feel lonely. It means you don't let loneliness dictate your choices. You might still have days where you wish for someone to lean on, nights when you wish for a hand to hold. But the difference is, you know how to keep going without it. You can feel the ache of wanting connection without letting it push you into situations that compromise your peace. His readiness also gives you resilience in ways others might not understand. You start to see challenges as tests instead of punishments. Every setback becomes a training ground for your character. Every disappointment becomes proof that you can handle more than you thought. Every time you fall, you rise a little faster, a little stronger, a little wiser. You also learn that life is not about avoiding being alone. It's about using the times you are alone to build something extraordinary. Some of the most powerful transformations happen when the world is quiet, when there's no one watching, when it's just you and your determination. That's when you start turning your scars into armor, your pain into purpose, your doubts into drive. When you are prepared to stand on your own, you stop living reactively. You're no longer just responding to whatever life throws at you. You start directing your life toward where you want to go. You start building habits, making decisions, and setting boundaries that protect your future. You become intentional with your time, your energy, and your focus because you understand that you are the one steering the ship. And the more you embrace this, the more unstoppable you become. Because the truth is, the world will always change. People will always come and go, and circumstances will always shift. The only constant you have is you. And when you've built yourself into someone who can survive, thrive, and grow regardless of the situation, you hold the greatest advantage there is. You'll see that this readiness isn't just about surviving in the hard times, it's about thriving in the good times without fear. You can fully enjoy love because you're not terrified of losing it. You can take big risks in your career because you know you can recover if it fails. You can dream bigger because you trust your ability to handle whatever comes next. The truth is, the people who live most fully are the ones who aren't afraid to be alone. They know that their worth doesn't come from being chosen, but from choosing themselves over and over again. They know that solitude isn't punishment. It's the space where the best versions of themselves are born. And maybe that's the most powerful part of all, knowing that you can walk into the unknown alone and still come out stronger. Knowing that you can lose, fall, and fail, yet rise every single time. Knowing that no matter what life takes from you, it can never take the person you've built yourself to be. Because that person, strong, capable, unshakable, is yours forever. The moment you truly realize that you are your own foundation, something deep within you shifts. You stop bargaining with your value. You stop asking the world for permission to exist on your own terms. You stop playing roles that don't fit you just to keep people happy. You understand that your life is yours to lead, and that no one else's opinion, approval, or acceptance should determine how you live it. That is when you start to operate from a place of strength rather than survival. You begin to see that depending on others for your emotional stability is like building a house on shifting sand. It can look strong for a while, but the moment the tide comes in, it collapses. Standing on your own is about pouring the concrete of your confidence, your resilience, and your discipline so that no matter what storms hit, you remain upright. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain or fear, but it does mean those feelings won't define or control you. The ability to survive alone brings with it an awareness that life owes you nothing. Opportunities won't just knock. You'll have to build the door yourself. No one is coming to hand you your dreams tied neatly with a ribbon. You'll have to sweat for them, bleed for them, and refuse to give up even when it feels like everything is working against you. And that's the part that scares most people, the idea of taking full responsibility for their own lives. But once you embrace it, you'll find it's the most liberating truth there is. When you stop waiting for rescue, you start moving faster. You stop stalling for help that may never come and instead find solutions with what you have. You learn to adapt. You learn to think on your feet. You learn to improvise when the plan falls apart. You develop the courage to make decisions without consulting a dozen people first. That kind of decisiveness isn't born from ego. It's born from necessity. And it's the mark of someone who can lead themselves through any terrain. You'll also discover that when you have this self-reliance, you become less reactive to other people's behavior. Someone leaving your life doesn't destroy you. It simply redirects you. Someone betraying you doesn't paralyze you. It teaches you. Someone doubting you doesn't weaken you. It fuels you. You stop giving your power away by letting other people's actions dictate your emotions. Instead, you take every experience and turn it into a building block for the future you're creating. There's an undeniable clarity that comes from being able to survive alone. You start seeing who and what truly matters. You begin to separate the voices that build you from the voices that break you. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself endlessly to those who will never understand your vision. You learn to protect your peace by walking away from noise, from drama, from people who thrive on chaos. The more you do this, the lighter your steps become because you're no longer carrying the weight of unnecessary burdens. And yes, it's not always glamorous. There will be nights when you question everything. There will be mornings when you wake up with a heaviness you can't name. There will be moments when loneliness feels sharp enough to cut through you. But here's the truth. Those moments pass, and when they do, you come out stronger for her. Face them head on. Each time you endure without falling apart, you add another layer to your armor. The beauty of surviving alone is that it doesn't close you off from the world. It allows you to enter it more authentically. You no longer approach relationships from a place of fear or lack. You don't cling because you're afraid of being alone. You don't compromise your boundaries just to be accepted. You don't silence yourself just to keep someone close. Instead, you stand fully in who you are and allow others to meet you there, or not at all. And here's something that might surprise you. When you stop needing people, you often end up with better people in your life. When you no longer seek validation, you attract those who respect you. When you no longer chase attention, you draw in those who appreciate you without games. When you no longer need saving, you connect with those who want to grow alongside you rather than control you. Your relationships become a choice, not a lifeline. Standing on your own also gives you the freedom to take risks others shy away from. You're not paralyzed by the thought of failure because you know failure won't destroy you. You've already learned how to rebuild. You've already stood in the ashes and created something new. You've already faced moments when you thought you couldn't go on and proved yourself wrong. That history makes you bold. It makes you willing to try, to leap, to push past limits, because you trust that no matter the outcome, you will find a way forward. There is also a deeper gratitude that grows from surviving alone. You begin to appreciate the small victories, the days when you handle a challenge without losing your composure, the nights when you go to bed with a sense of peace after chaos, the mornings when you wake up and realize you've kept going despite everything. These moments remind you that your power isn't loud or always visible. It's in the consistency, the persistence, the refusal to quit. You also start to notice how much stronger your intuition becomes. When you're not constantly looking outward for guidance, you begin to hear the quiet voice within you. You trust it when it warns you. You follow it when it nudges you towards something unfamiliar. You respect it enough to pause when it tells you to wait. This inner compass grows sharper the more you depend on it, and it becomes one of your greatest tools in navigating life. The more you live this way, the more you realize that self-reliance isn't about isolation. It's about foundation. It's about having a base so solid that you can build anything on it without fear of collapse. It's about knowing that no matter what or who comes into your life, you will remain standing. It's about recognizing that your worth doesn't fluctuate with someone else's treatment of you. And once you truly understand this, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop making excuses for why you can't start that project, leave that relationship, apply for that job, or move to that city. You stop letting doubt dictate your pace. You stop waiting for the perfect set of circumstances. You know that whatever resources you have now, however small, they are enough to begin. And once you begin, you trust yourself to figure out the rest along the way. Your resilience also begins to inspire others, even if you never set out to be an example. People watch how you handle yourself when things fall apart. They notice that you don't crumble when you're left standing alone. They see that you continue to rise without bitterness. And in doing so, you give silent permission for others to find that strength within themselves. You become the proof that it's possible to live fully without depending on anyone to make you whole. You become the reminder that standing alone is not the same as being lonely. You become the evidence that the greatest power comes from wit. Not from the presence of others. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you unshakable when life inevitably tests you again. Because life will test you again. People will leave, plans will fail, circumstances will shift without warning. But when you've built yourself into someone who can survive and thrive alone, these moments no longer feel like endings, they feel like new beginnings. You've trained yourself to adapt, to endure, to create from nothing if necessary. You know how to turn loss into fuel, pain into purpose, and endings into the start of something better. And perhaps the most empowering part of all is that you no longer fear the unknown. You don't need to have all the answers before you take a step. You don't need to see the entire path before you start walking. You've learned that the strength you carry will guide you through every bend, every detour, every challenge that lies ahead. And that knowledge, that deep, unwavering trust in yourself is the kind of power that no one can take from you